Ship's log, celestial date 218.255.18. Iris and I are still exploring this strange radioactive fog, and we're moving through the ruins of what seems like it may once have been some kind of a village, or maybe even an acropolis. There are odd spectral entities here. I hesitate to call them ghosts, but that's most what they seemed like. And it's very eerie, and we hear some strange sounds. I suspect we're not alone. Hello and welcome. I am Scrapperlock, and this is Starforged Alpha Cluster. We are with Krista, our main character, who's been delving the depths of the planet Orcus in a grave site that is surrounded by green fog, so she can't see much. She fought a couple of ghosts over here, and we went through quite a battle with them. It was very difficult because one of them is formidable, but then when you have groups of them, you deal with them as a single progress track by upgrading the progress track. So I upgraded the progress track to extreme, which made it take a really long time. In any case, we managed to get away from them. We found a crashed truck, and the truck had like a homing beacon in it that led Krista to this next spot, which is supposedly leading her where she needs to go to try and get the interference engine. And we got 8 progress on this, but the last thing that happened was we got a weak hit, and we are being led astray. So the question is, what does that mean, being led astray? So let's roll action and theme and see what that presents to me, because we're encountering a peril. Falter deception. All right, so I think what this means is that the beacon led her astray, right? That she came to this area and it's just a dead end. And so she got to make some sort of a move here. So let's see. So I think the road stops. She keeps going and she ends up with these weird sounds and some crumbling ruins around her, but no road, and she isn't sure where to go. And she's not even sure exactly how to get back. So she's going to have to figure out how to get back to the pillaged path and continue in another direction. She's been sort of led astray here, I think. And so let's have her gather information. And so she takes out her data pad and she says, let me see if I can get a direction. And I know we want to go north, let's say. And we've obviously gone the wrong way here. Let me see if I can get this compass to work in the middle of all this radiation. So we're going to gather information. We have +8 momentum, so we might be able to burn momentum. And we're rolling wits. We don't have any extra bonuses. And she gets, oh my gosh, a complication with pay the price. We cannot burn momentum. It is a double 10. So this is bad. This is something bad. So we are on a grave world. So I think what we need to do, so let's roll the Peril. Because it's a haunted grave world. Let's roll the Peril. We get a 1, which is just pay the price, right? But this is like additionally a complication. So it's not just paying the price. So I think I'm going to keep rolling this till I either get haunted or grave. We're paying the price already. Okay, so it's a grave world peril. So we get, and there isn't, I wish the individual worlds had their own perils. They're just a lifeless world peril. And the peril we get is disturbing remains or evidence of death. And then pay the price. All right, so I think, remember that there was a destroyed truck over here, like a tractor, heaped with the crumbling remains of these tree creatures that were these ghosts, right? They look like people, but they're actually ghost trees. So this world in the distant past was inhabited by like Ents, right? Or something like them. And somebody came here and killed them all. And was piling them onto these corpse wagons, basically, and bringing them somewhere. Maybe they didn't realize these things were sentient and were just burning them for fuel. Who knows? And so the truck was here, and I think it was coming here to dump them. So what she finds is a mass grave. She keeps going. She heads north a little bit, and she almost, well, I think she's going to fall into the mass grave. And she's surrounded by the crumbling remains. And Iris lets out this like little whine of being upset, and it's floating at the rim of this, and she's fallen down. And um, the uh, the exosuit falls down. I think the exosuit might take damage from this because it's pretty deep, and it is a pit full of the dead bodies of these creatures, right? These tree creatures. And so I think that's what she finds in terms of the peril, and now we have to pay the price. So let me take a look at the pay the price table, and I'll figure out exactly what two options we have, and then we'll roll on the oracle. Okay, so I think the most likely are either the vehicle suffers damage or she is harmed, and I think it's much more likely that the vehicle is going to suffer damage. So we're going to roll pay the price. Does the exosuit? That's not what I wanted. Does the exosuit? Sorry, we had to roll in the oracle. Does the exosuit take damage? No, Krista gets hurt. So Krista falls, and she takes, right? And so this is our complication. And now she's got to endure harm. And that is right here. So she falls, and there's a bit of a concussion. So she manages to twist the exosuit in such a way that it lands on its feet rather than like on her back, and then the thing falls down, and she catches herself on her fists, on her hands, and now she is stuck at the bottom of this pit that, let's say, is 20 feet deep, and the exosuit doesn't have any engines or anything, so she's going to have to try and find a way to climb out of it, and she's surrounded by all of these horrifying dead bodies and stuff. And so she's, I think, unnerved by this, or her spirit's a little low, so she's already kind of creeped out. And now she sees why this place is haunted, because this is a mass grave, and all of these poor tree creatures have been killed. And Krista says, Iris, turn some light on me so I can get out of here. So she's going to ask Iris to kind of light her way, and she's going to examine the surface. So Iris can like hover down, and she's going to go to the edge, and she's going to examine the surface of this pit to try and see if she can find some handholds or places where she can grab on with the exosuit, or like jam the vibroblade into it and leverage herself up. So we're going to secure advantage to see if she can do that. And I don't think we have any assets that help us. She's not studying from a position of safety, so we're just rolling regular secure advantage with wits. And we get a weak hit, so let's go ahead and take the momentum. That'll help us a lot. And then she's going to try and climb up. So she thinks she sees a few handholds, a place where she can wedge her vibroblade with it turned off, right, into the rocks, and she is going to slowly like sort of try to clamber her way back up to the surface. So let's go ahead and roll, and this is with mobility. So this is rolling edge. And we get a weak hit. So I think we'll take a momentum loss. It takes her a while, but she manages to get out, and Iris comes with her. And she says, okay, let's just continue this way, the side of the pit that they're on, and see what we get. And we have 8 progress on the progress track. So I think what I'm going to do now is she's going to say, maybe this is where the interference engine is. Maybe this is where that homing beacon was leading us. And so we're going to just see if she can find it, right? We don't even know what the interference engine looks like, so it'll be interesting to see what it looks like when we get there. So let's make our progress move. Let's see if we have found it. And we get a strong hit. So the next place she comes to is going to have the interference engine. Whoops, no. No. Deselect everything. Yeah, these drawing tools leave a lot to be desired, to be honest. Okay, so let's see. What do we find here? So we are... I think we're going to have to do the Grave World, because the Haunted is not giving us actual places. It's just giving us like a feeling, and we need to know, where is this? So we're going to go to the Grave World and watch it screw me and give me something that I can't tell what it is either, but let's roll a feature. And we find dead... Oh, well, I mean, this is perfect. We find dead forests, right? So this is where all of these creatures came from. So she finds a forest of dead creatures, the tree creatures, right? So they're all... So what she finds... what she finds are the stumps, right? So she's got all of the bodies of them here, and what she finds are all of the stumps. And somehow or other, the interference engine is here. So let's check the progress track. So we've completed this with a strong hit, and we completed a dangerous exploration, right? So let's make sure we get all of our stuff. So we finished an expedition with a strong hit, right? We get 2 ticks on our discovery track, but we also get an extra tick. And we get +2 momentum because we've reached a milestone. So I think we're going to do that, but let's go ahead and do the ticks. So we get 1, 2, and then 3. And let's go ahead and we delve the grave site. So we have done that, and we've completed the delve. So we get +2 momentum for that. So now, did I mark the progress? I didn't. So there's a progress, right? And so now the question is, what is it? Could the interference engine be some sort of an actual organic thing? Why would the interference engine be in the dead forest? I'm not sure about that. Could the interference engine be something organic? Actually, given what we see here, I think that's likely. It is. So, I think the interference engine is actually a giant tree-like thing that lived at the center of this forest. And whoever was here was cutting down the forest either to get to it or maybe to stop it from interfering with their stuff, right? Because I think, do we have a list of the interference engine? The interference engine is something that interferes with, like, the instruments of other things. Could it be that this has been interfering with Krista's instrumentation, which is why she's had so much trouble finding it? I think that that's true. And so her own instruments are starting to go haywire, and she sees this thing growing out of the ground. And maybe there are some marks on it that indicate that somebody was trying to chop it down because it was interfering with whatever town lived here. And maybe it's somehow unleashed at whoever it is and tried to attack them. So now the question is, how is she going to transport this thing back to her ship? So she's going to have to dig around it and bring it back to the ship. So I think what Chris is going to have to do is she's going to have to go back to the pillaged path here, unhook the tractor bed from the cab, dump all of the bodies of the dead trees off of it, and then lug it back here, and then try to dig up the the tree thing, the interference engine, and put it on here. And she's going to have to bring up enough soil that it doesn't die, right? Because it will only work if it's alive. So this sounds like a multi-step process. So I think this is a scene challenge, right? Because she's going to have to do this thing. She's going to have to complete, I think, the scene challenge to get it back to her ship before it dies. And if she's not quick enough, it's just going to wilt and die. It's very fragile. So she's going to have to get the truck, come back here, dig it up. And so we're going to have to put a clock on it, right? So let me pull up the scene challenge rules and I'll bring you back. All right, so we have our scene challenge. We're going to begin the scene, right? We are faced with an extended or complex challenge. So every time we screw up, we're going to have to move the clock. Now, I think the thing is, so let me change this. I'm going to give it 4 clock segments, but I'm going to say that we have to like go here and come back first before we even start digging it up. So we're not, when we pay the price, we're not going to actually tick anything off until we've dug this thing up, because once we dig it up, then we need to get it back to the ship. So the first step is Krista is going to take Iris and go back to here, and she's got to skirt the pit and go back to the truck and see if she can get there. So the first thing she's got to do is face danger, right? So she is doing this with mobility, I guess. So we're rolling edge. Ooh, we get a weak hit. Okay, we mark progress, but we encounter complication or setback. So we're not going to fill a clock segment because she hasn't dug up the tree yet. We mark progress. This is a formidable challenge because that's the way scene challenges work. So she gets there, but we face a setback. So we have to figure out what the setback might be. So let's look up the trouble on a grave haunted world, and we get pay the price. So let's roll on pay the price and see what happens. We get, you are stressed. Okay, so Krista is stressed. So I think what's going to happen here is she really doesn't like walking past all these dead tree creatures, and she is sweating inside her suit, and she really doesn't like this and having to like move their bodies off the truck and everything. So she's not super happy about that. So she's going to have to endure stress. So let us roll that. And she gets a strong hit, so she's able to shake it off. So she gets back here, and now she's going to try to secure advantage by taking the bed off of the truck. So go back to the scene challenge and secure an advantage. And here she is using, I guess expertise. I think that makes the most sense. And we get a weak hit, so we'll take +1 on our next move. So she's successful, right? On so this is the scene challenge one, right? According to the scene challenge in the book, it says on a hit you are successful, on a strong hit take both. On a weak hit take 1. So we are successful. Doesn't really say that here, but we are successful. And she's able to unhook it. So now she's going to take it and she's going to drag it back to the dead forest, right? So we have 10 momentum. We get +1 on our next move. So she's going to face danger and head back to the forest. And we get +1, and we're doing mobility again. So we're rolling edge, and we get an opportunity. So we get a strong hit. We mark progress twice. So she gets there without any issues, and what she finds when she brings the thing there So she lugs the truck here, and although it's not a nice, pleasant thing, she's going to dump the remaining bodies into the mass grave. And then she's going to continue into this forest area. And as she does that, as she dumps it, she sees digging tools. So she'll be able to dig this thing up. So she uses her scanner so now what she's going to do is she's going to secure advantage. She's going to use her scanner to see if she can figure out where the roots of this thing go so that she doesn't damage the roots when she digs it up. She's going to kind of use her particle cannon to kind of inscribe a circle and mark around the area where she has to dig. So we're going to secure advantage for that, and this is using wits. Oh, and we get a weak hit. We can take that, and it's +1 on our next move. We don't need a strong hit for that. So she's able to successfully inscribe. So now we have +1. She's going to try to dig it up. And now at this point, any failures will advance the clock. So she's going to start using her vibroblade and the digging tools to dig around. And it's not that the roots don't go that deep. They're fairly shallow. And so she's going to dig down and see if she can pull up the whole root ball so that she doesn't kill this thing. So we're going to face danger, and we're doing, I believe, was this mobility really, or observation? I mean, I don't feel like it's a mobility. She's using observation, right? And we have +1 on the roll, so roll wits. Oh boy, and we get a weak hit, so we're successful in mark progress, but we also face a complication or setback. So we mark progress. So she pulls the roots up. What's the complication? I think the soil is so dry that it all falls away from the roots. And so there's nothing to kind of protect the roots at all. And she doesn't have like burlap or something so that the roots are now completely exposed to this toxic atmosphere, and maybe it could start killing the thing. And so I think that's gonna. I think she's gonna. I think trying to get it in has delayed her a little bit, and we're gonna take off a momentum as a setback. And so now she's got to kind of rush. So now we're going to move with speed, right? So now she's going to try and we have 9 momentum. I think she's going to try and just lug the truck. Now it's going to be heavy with this tree thing on it. And she's pulling it with her exosuit. And she has Iris kind of lighting the way, but Iris can't really help her with this because we're not undertaking an expedition. And she's going to lug this thing to the next section and try to go around the pit and not have it fall in and that sort of thing. So now we're maneuvering with face danger and using speed. We don't have any bonuses, and we roll edge. And we get a strong hit. So we mark progress, and she manages to get here successfully. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. She doesn't really want to go to here, so she's going to actually try to go south. Right, because we want to avoid the ghosts. So she's going to actually try to just go south. So first, what she's going to do is she's going to send Iris ahead to scan and see if there's a way to go south. And so let's see if we can secure an advantage. Iris doesn't give her any bonuses here, but we're using observation. She's using her scanners, and we get a strong hit. So we take momentum. We had +1 on our next move. So Iris finds her a way to head this way. And so she drags the thing into this area with eerie cold. And we have +1 on our next move, so she's trying to move with speed again because she's concerned that this thing is going to die with nothing to protect its roots. And we roll edge. And we get a strong hit. We mark progress. So she makes it, and then she's going to try and head to the edge of the fog. And again, I think she's just facing danger and going quickly. And we get a miss, but we can burn momentum and get a weak hit. Let's do it. So we mark progress, fill the clock because it's delaying her, and there's a setback. So let me think. What's the setback going to be? Let's see what peril we get. This is going to be a haunted peril. So let's go to location themes and go to haunted and pick a peril. Trickery leads you into danger. Okay, so so I think what happens here is one of the ghosts pops up here, and Krista thinks that it's this spot, so she tries to delay, and she ends up going over here. And now she's got another ghost here to deal with. And she can't really fight it, so she says, let's just get the heck out of here. Let's go back the way we came. This is the wrong way. And we're going to face danger and try to get out. Where are we? Rolling edge. Oh, that's not good. We get a miss. So, so the other ghost comes in here, and they're both. They don't like it that she's got this tree, so now they're like trying to moan at her, and they're trying to send her these visions of like fearful visions and everything else. And I think that this is going to be enduring stress. And she's really low on spirit now, so that's not good. Where are we? So we're going to endure stress. And it's a miss. Okay, let's take the momentum down to 0. And she is delayed. And we fill a clock segment. So Krista just ends up like letting go of the truck and holding her head and screaming, and she just can't move. And Iris is beeping at her like, "Let's go, let's go!" And the ghosts are sort of floating around her, howling at her, and she's getting these visions of burning forests and trees getting chopped down and ripped up. And she's got this thing, and so she's got to try to get out of here. So I think, like, I don't know what else to do here other than just keep facing danger, because yeah, so wait a minute. Did I do this wrong? The stress. Oh, we're not rolling on the table. Okay. So I think Krista picks up the truck and she just runs for it. And we're going to try to make our progress roll and just see if we can get the heck out of here. If she fails, then the tree is dead when she gets out with it. And we get a strong hit. So she just collects herself, and Iris leads her out, and she comes out and she is able to succeed, and she gets the tree out, and there is her ship, and she says, "Oh, thank the stars," and she comes up the gangway with the truck in tow, and she hears over her radio, "Krista, Krista, Krista, come in. I haven't been able to reach you in like an hour. What's going on?" And Krista says, "Open the airlock, open the airlock." And she kind of brings this tree thing on the truck into the cargo bay. And she says, "I need your help, I need your help." And what they do is they go into the med lab and they get some water and biofluids, and they kind of go back into the cargo and hook this thing up to the medical equipment and kind of put it in a stasis field so that it won't die. Right? We got a strong hit on the scene challenge, so we got it back. It didn't die, and now we actually have the interference engine And we've returned to the Stormswept. So that is 2 progress, boom, boom, on this. And now we have to return to Wreck. And so we got 2 progress on this, and when we reach a milestone, we get +2 momentum. That's good. That's 2 momentum each. So we've got it, and she says, all right, now we've got to get off the planet, and they've got to avoid the, whatchamacallit, the defense platform. So, all right, so she is going to first raise the shields. She says, all right, let's fire up the engines. So she says to, let's secure advantage. So she says to Dagger, while you were waiting for me, I told you to scan the orbit and see if you could find a hole in the pattern of patrol of that orbital defense platform. Were you able to? And Dagger says, yes. I actually found an opportunity. Every so many hour, every hour, no, every so many minutes, every 45 minutes, it actually goes beyond the horizon, and we've got about 10 minutes before it comes back. So I think if we just launch from here and just make like a bat out of hell and just beeline out of here. And she says it disappears around that horizon. So if we fly toward that horizon, it'll give us a little extra time. And so that's what they're going to do. So Chris is going to raise the shields. So we roll vehicles integrity or plus wits, whatever is higher. Our wits is 4 actually, right? So we're going to roll plus wits. So d6 plus 4. Roll. And then we're going to roll 2 challenge dice. So we got a 9 against a 5 and a 1. So that is a strong hit. So she raises the shields. And then we get +1 on our next move. That's not the shields, I don't think. So we're going to face danger. So she raises the shields, and she is going to blast off and just bat out of hell, just fly up as fast as possible. +1. We're using mobility and edge. As soon as they get the window of opportunity, they fly out into orbit. And we get a weak hit. We succeed, but not without a cost. Make 1 suffer move. So yeah, I think it takes a little bit of momentum. So what happens is they have to go kind of the opposite way around the planet and then go pretty far away before they can swing back and get into the place where they have to go to get into the drift. So we are now back in the Bloody Breach. We can get rid of the Orcus Expedition map from our menu, and we are back in orbit around Orcus, and we are ready to head back to Wreck. And I believe, if we look, right, we have a path all the way through here, and a path all the way through here to Wreck. So it's just setting a course. So before we do that, I think Chris is going to stay out by the drift, and she is going to rest first. Let's take some time to rest. And she is going to try and hearten. So she says to Dagger, let's, I'm just drained by that. I mean, she's still very pale and clammy, and Dagger says, are you okay? And she says, I don't know, not really. And she says, what is that tree thing? And that's the interference engine. And Krista says, yeah, I think so. So they go into the mess hall, and they share a meal, and they socialize, and Krista tells Dagger what happened. And Dagger says, on the one hand, I kind of wish I was there to see it. On the other hand, I'm really glad I didn't see it. So who do you think killed all of these tree creatures? And why do you think this one tree is able to interfere with scanners and stuff? And is it gonna mess with our scanners? And Krista says, well, I hope not. But I don't know, maybe it will. But we've got to try to get back to Wreck and give it to them, and then it's out of my hands. And so they socialize for a while and they talk. And Dagger fixes her a stiff drink and so on. And so we're gonna hearten. And yeah, it sort of annoys me that you don't get like +1 for being with a companion or something like that, or with a bond. I feel like you should, but anyway, we're heartening, rolling heart, and we get a weak hit. So we find companionship or comfort. Um, take +2 spirit. It's not a sojourn, but at least so her spirits are buoyed a little bit. Um, so the indulgence is fleeting in vision, interruption, or complication, or inner conflict, and then lose momentum. So I think, in fact, as they finish up, they hear some alarms coming from engineering, and they go back, and it is in fact the case that this tree is putting out interference waves that are messing with the computers. And so Krista is going to have to face some danger to see if she can bypass the various systems and like alter the frequency of her transmissions within the ship so that they're not interfered with by this thing. And so I think this is wits. She doesn't have any like particular assets for this, so we'll just roll wits. And we get a miss, so she fails. So that means that her ship has been interfered with by the interference engine. And so I think the ship is going to take some damage. And now I think that's the case. And so its integrity has been interfered with, and the shields. So I think this. So it takes some integrity damage, and also the shields are the shield module is fried, and she's going to have to fix it. So she cannot use shields. I think I'm going to give the integrity back. It fries out her shields module. So the interference engine, remember, it interferes with the defenses. It has interfered with her shields module, and it's going to be non-functional until she can get somewhere to repair it. And she's got to get the tree off of her ship. All right, so this has been a long episode. Let's go ahead, and now that we're done with all of that, she says, let's just get this thing back to Wreck. And we're going to make a single move. And we have 4 supplies, so we should have some possibility. We're going to make a single move to set a course to go to Wreck. Do we make it? We do. We get a strong hit, and we take +1 momentum. So despite the interference, it blocks the shield module. She goes through all of these different spots. They stop at Proteus. They stop at... Oh, wait. Before we do that, I do want to check, before they leave, Krista is going to check her pendant to see if Orcus's star lights it up. I forgot all about that, guys. So let's check that first. It does not. So we go to Proteus. We get to the asteroid section. We end up in the Burning Gyre. She ends up at Aurora, then the asteroid field, then Vale, right? Iota Vethley, and so on. Wellspring, right? Then back in Chronos Tide, and we should activate this one because this is our main one. She ends up going through all of these and ending up at Wreck. Nope, that is the wrong thing. I need to pick Krista. Okay, so I think that's where we'll stop it. She gets back to Wreck. I think that is another milestone. And so we get +2 momentum. And we're back at Wreck without difficulty. The shield module is not working, but everything else is okay. And once she gets the tree off of her ship, she should be able to repair the shield module. And we're back at Wreck. And so in the next episode, hopefully we'll be able to finish this formidable vow and get some XP for it. But the main question is, so I think what we're going to do here is, well, let's finish it, right? We got some time. I mean, 39 minutes. Let's just finish this, guys. I want to wrap it up. So they get permission to land on wreck, and Krista lands the ship. And as she comes in, she raises what's her name, Kiri. And so let's ask some questions here, right? Kiri is an administrator was an administrative assistant to Arnev Legrand, right? And she's the one who asked Krista to get this thing. So the question is, did Kiri get promoted, or is she an administrative assistant to somebody else? I think it's unlikely that she got promoted. Did she get promoted? She did not. So she's an administrative assistant to somebody else now. And so she radios Kiri. And let's see, who is she the administrative assistant to now? Not this. Characters. Name. So she is an administrative assistant to Bruno Kane. Okay. He's the new leader of the Stars. And so she raises Kiri and she says, this is Krista. Now, it's been a while, right? It's been like a month. And she says, Krista, I haven't heard from you in a while. And Krista says, yeah, I've got your interference engine, kind of. And Kiri says, what do you mean? She says, well, I think you better come look. And so Krista stays in the docking section, opens up the airlock, waits for Kiri. Kiri comes very quickly, and Krista shows her it's a tree, right? And I don't know how you're going to use it, but it definitely interferes with my ship. I haven't been able to raise my shield since I brought it on board. So here's the progress roll, right? So she gave the engine to the Universal Stars, but the question is the tree still alive, right? If we get a miss, which would be double tens, the tree died, just as she brought it in, right? If not, it survived. So, is it going to work, and is Kiri going to accept it? Wow. So we got a 6 and a 9. It is a strong hit. So Kiri immediately radios in some of the techs, and maybe even mainframe comes, and they come on board, and they take this thing off, right? And they basically like cover it up, and they take the truck off. And, you know, the security guards and stuff are looking at them like, what is that? Oh, it's just some cargo. It's just some cargo. That's Kiri's problem to deal with, right? We have completed this formidable vow. And Kiri is super happy with Krista now. So let's take a look at how that works in terms of gaining stuff. So, so we reached another milestone, right? And then we fulfilled our vow. On a strong hit, we get a box for formidable, but we also get 2 extra ticks because we're a lore hunter, right? So 1, 2, and then a box, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, which means we now have 5 XP guys. So I'm going to figure out what I want to spend the XP on, and we'll continue our story in the next episode. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. Until next time, I am Scrapperlock, and this has been Starforged Alpha Cluster.